But yeah, so tell me, like, again, my understanding, because I think I know we've had some conversations before, and leading up to, I think, a conference that Parental Rights in Education, Alan Sarvinas put on. We're really thankful for his work as well. And I understand that you had a daughter that was dealing with some gender confusion, and then tell us, like, how you uncovered that, and then, like, what happened, what was going on in the school, what were the doctors saying, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So her story, kind of started out with, first of all, she's on the spectrum. She received an autism spectrum diagnosis when she was in her teens, early teens. And so she was already under the care of a pediatrician and a mental health worker as well. And it kind of came unraveled when I noticed that she had changed her name on her email, or created an email with the name Luke. And so that kind of raised some flags for me. But in that time, the whole gender ideology thing wasn't as commonplace. It was kind of just starting up, and it wasn't on my radar. But then she disclosed at a well child visit that she felt like she was a boy. And so the doctor at the time, her pediatrician then, had asked me to leave the room. And of course, when someone in authority asks you to leave the room or do something, you generally tend to comply, in which I did, and came back, and they asked me to sign a referral, and that referral was to a gender clinic. And she gave me the choice. She said, here, you can choose the one in Portland, or you can choose the one in Bangor. And I just was floored. And I looked at her and I'm like, I'm not signing that. And she's like, well, yeah, you'll sign it now, because it's going to be a years long wait list at least, and by the time she's 18, she'll be ready to get right in. And I was like, no, I'm not signing it. And so that kind of began our journey. And she did get in touch with a pediatric psychologist who gave me some hope. Her words were to me, children on the spectrum, they don't see these things like gender as this like black and white concept. It's just kind of this more gray area. And it's like, she said to me, 90% of these kids will grow out of it. And so that gave me a lot of hope. And I mean, that's a big number. She's not saying like, oh, this is like a 50-50 chance. That's a pretty big number. And so I just really clung on to that hope that, okay, she's going to grow out of this. We'll get her the help she needs. We'll start her in counseling and all of those things. And then, just wait. And so for me, it was hell. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all. She was very angry with me. She saw it as being unsupportive. And to me, it's like, this is your sexual health. This is your overall health, your mental health, this is everything. And so we're not going to make these rash decisions, before she even turns 18. And so, we went through a lot of heartbreak. And, there were days where I would spend outside her door doing suicide watch, because she felt so bad about the direction things were going. She just wanted that reward at the end. I think she had gotten in with a community online, and those voices were really pressuring to her of like, this is like the cure-all. Once you get into, get these hormone blockers, or once you get this surgery, it's all good, smooth sailing. And that's not the truth. They're selling lies. And so I'm not sure who the voices are online that are doing this to the children, but that was a very real experience. So, we waited, and when she turned 18, she was still set in her ways that she was going to do this. And she came home for Christmas, and I was checking in with her, just, how things were going. She had gone to college, and, she was asking me questions. Well, who would help me post-op, or who would help me with this? And I was really grappling with thinking about that. It's like, is that enabling, excuse me, is that enabling my kid? Can I do this? Like, could I still, it was an internal conflict within myself. And so, I didn't really
Yeah,
provide
because
any answers, but I
obviously
was just,
you're a mom, and you want to support your child, and like, even though you don't agree with what she's
yeah,
doing, you if she were in a difficult situation, that doesn't mean you want to abandon her and throw her out.
exactly,
But at the same
exactly.
time, if you say that you're willing to do it, that might encourage her and give her more, motivation to actually follow through with doing that, and that not seen by her as being some semblance of support. So yeah, a rock and a hard
Yeah.
place for sure.
Yeah, and you're exactly right about that. It was very hard, and so I never did answer her, but I really kind of had this internal struggle just of what I would do, and I talked to some people about it and some family members as well. And so anyway, it was after Christmas, well after Christmas, and I received a text message from her. And among all the things that she was spilling out to me, she said, I think you were right, I'm not transgender, I'm a woman. And it was like this celebratory, like, yes moment. I mean, I just wanted to like get in my car and drive up to her school and give her a big hug and just celebrate with her. But I played it very cool. I was like, yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad that you've come to this decision really on her own, because a couple months prior, she was like talking about insurance and what would be covered and what wouldn't be covered and what kind of support she would need. And so really, I had already accepted that she was going there because it's something that she had been grappling with for years. And so there was the acceptance of, okay, this is the next step, and she's 18 and she can choose whatever she wants to do with her own body. And I just need to figure out like what support I can lend. Um, but I was ecstatic, of course. And, we had so many people praying for her. We had people across the state, intercessory prayer happening, lots of groups. I just am so thankful because I really feel like this was a spiritual battle. This was a battle that was happening, something that we can't see. And, it was defeated, at least in her instance, that this is, laid to rest. And so I really feel blessed for that outcome, because I really just didn't know it was a years battle, years long battle.